Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 1, Verse 16. Grihat pravarjito dhiraha punyatirtha jalaplutaha sucho viviktasino vidivat kalpitasane. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. One should leave home and practice self-control. In a sacred place, he should bathe regularly and sit down in a lonely place duly sanctified. Purport. To prepare oneself for the better next life, one must get out of one's so-called home. The system of Varnashrama Dharma or Sanatana Dharma prescribes retirement from family encumbrances as early as possible after one has passed 50 years of age. Modern civilization is based on family comforts, the highest standard of amenities, and therefore after retirement, everyone expects to live a very comfortable life in a well-furnished home decorated with fine ladies and children, without any desire to get out of such a comfortable home. High government officers and ministers stick to their prize posts until death, and they neither dream nor desire to get out of homely comforts. Bound by such hallucination, materialistic men prepare various plans for a still more comfortable life. But suddenly, cruel death comes without mercy and takes away the great plan maker against his desire, forcing him to give up the present body for another body. Such a plan maker is thus forced to accept another body in one of the 84 lakh species of life according to the fruits of work he has performed. In the next life, persons who are too much attached to family comforts are generally awarded lower species of life on account of sinful acts performed during a long duration of sinful life, and thus all energy of the human life is spoiled. In order to be saved from the danger of spoiling the human form of life and being attached to unreal things, one must take warning of death at the age of 50, if not earlier. The principle is that one should take it for granted that the death warning is already there, even prior to the attainment of 50 years of age, and thus, at any stage of life, one should prepare himself for a better next life. The system of the Varnashrama Dharma institution is so made that the follower is trained for a better next life without any chance that the human life will be spoiled. The holy places all over the world are meant for the residential purposes of retired persons getting ready for a better next life. Intelligent persons must go there at the end of life, and for that matter, after 50 years of age, to live a life of spiritual rejuvenation for the sake of being freed from material attachment, which is considered to be the shackles of material life. One is recommended to quit home just to get rid of material attachment, because one who sticks to family life until death cannot get rid of material attachment. And as long as one is materially attached, one cannot understand spiritual freedom. One should not, however, become self-complacent simply by leaving home or by creating another home at the holy place, either lawfully or unlawfully. Many persons leave home and go to such holy places, but due to bad association, again become family men by illicit connection with the opposite sex. The illusory energy of matter is so strong that one is apt to be under such illusion at every stage of life, even after even after quitting one's happy home. Therefore, it is essential that one practice self control by celibacy with the least desire for sex indulgence. For a man desiring to improve the condition of his existence, sex indulgence is considered suicidal or even worse. Therefore, to live apart from family life means to become self controlled in regard to all sense desires, especially sex desires. The method is that one should have a duly sanctified sitting place made of straw, deer skin, and carpet, and thus, sitting on it, one should chant the holy name of the Lord without offense, as prescribed above. The whole process is to drag the mind from material engagements and fix it on the lotus feet of the Lord. This simple process alone will help one advance to the highest stage of spiritual success. A few years ago, a senior government officer who retired with great honor, he had a beautiful home, comfortable family, traveling foreign trips, living very happily with his grandchildren. And suddenly, in few months, he suffered massive heart attack and he passed away. There was no warning, there was no announcement, there was no more ask for one more day. But his home remains, his family remains, his grandchildren remains, his plans remain, but he is no more. Death does not ask whether we are ready. But Srimad Bhagavatam is compassionate. Before death speaks, Bhagavatam speaks. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is teaching us what should a human being do knowing that death can come at any moment of life. This beautiful verse is presented by Shukadev Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit, who had 7 days left in his life. And time is very short. In this short duration of time, he is asking most intelligent question to Shukadev Goswami. He is asking, what should a human being do who is about to die? What should he hear? What should he chant? What should he remember at the point of death? And today, Sukadev Goswami is saying, Grihat Pravrajitaha. One should leave home. Home does not merely mean a building. It means an attachment. In the purport, Prabhupada is beautifully saying in today's verse, modern civilization is based on family comforts the highest standard of amenities, living very comfortable life in a well-furnished home, decorated with fine ladies and children, without any desire to get out of such a comfortable home. It's like this government officer who was living comfortably. He had many plans, but time has its own plan. And that's why Bhagavatam is teaching us various lessons how we can prepare our life. Maharaj Parikshit asked 6 questions to Sukadev Goswami. And this answer to these 6 questions is entire Srimad Bhagavatam. Sukadev Goswami is narrating various instances how we can prepare our life. One such instance is Chitraketu, who was a king, very powerful king, who had immense wealth. He is blessed with royal kingdom. He had many queens. Although he was blessed with all opulence, but he was lamenting for one thing. His heart was burning with that desire. What was he lamenting for? He had no son. He wanted a son so that his dynasty will be continued. So at that time, a great saint, Angira Rishi, comes. He preaches to him that the temporary nature of this material world and the eternal nature of the spirit soul. But Chitraketu was not in a position to hear. He was completely absorbed by material attachment that he wanted a son. Knowing this situation, Angira Rishi knew when to speak and when to wait. And he said to the Chitraketu that according to your destiny, you don't have a son. According to your destiny, you don't have son. But Chitraketu was so much attached to the son that he was lamenting, intensely praying that he wanted a son. So all right, Angira Rishi, he said, I will soon bless you with a son. But remember, the very son will be the cause of your happiness and distress. The very son will be the cause of your happiness and distress. And Chitraketu was calculating. Definitely happiness. I will have happiness. I will have a son. My dynasty will continue. And distress, probably he must be uneducated. He must be a fool. Doesn't matter. But I will have a son. So he agreed to the proposal. And soon he was blessed with a son. And the entire kingdom was celebrations, jubilations. He was distributing in charity. And he became very much attached to the queen who had given birth. And other queens became envious because the king neglected them. In fact, they became the maid servant to this queen who had given birth. They could not tolerate. So they all gathered together and devised a plan to kill the child. So one night, as the child was asleep, they poisoned the child. And the child died. Chitraketu, hearing this news, he became collapsed. And the entire kingdom was mourning in grief. And at that time, again, Angira Rishi comes. And he could remember the warning that this child will be the cause of happiness and distress. But then, because of intense attachment, he was lamenting for the child. Seeing his lamentation, Angira Rishi had mystic powers. He asked the soul to come back to his body. See, your father is lamenting. And the child would ask, which father? Which life father are you talking about? I had many fathers. I had many lives. I had many mothers. Which life are you talking about? Hearing this, Chitraketu was shattered. His illusion was shattered. His deep attachment for the child uprooted. Immediately, his false identification also got collapsed. And immediately he left the kingdom. So, Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam taya parata chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhihi samaudau na vidhiyate. Anyone who is too much attached to sense enjoyment, mental opulence, firm determination for devotional service does not take place. Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita that there are three kinds of happiness. The happiness in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. That happiness, which in the beginning may look like poison, but in the end it is like a nectar. Poison because we have to control the mind and senses. We have to follow the rules and regulations. It is very difficult. And therefore it is poison for us. But for one who follows these rules and regulations and controls mind and senses, he succeeds, he drinks nectar. And that happiness is in the mode of goodness. And that happiness, which in the beginning, when it's derived from the contact of sense objects, we experience nectar, we experience the pleasure. But in the end, it is a poison. Just like this Chitraketu, who was very much attached to his son. Initially, it was pleasurable for him, but later on, it was displeasure for him. So, any material attachment is detrimental for self-realization. And that's why Shukdev Goswami is saying here, Grihat pravrajitaha, one should leave home. He was blindly attached to his son. On the same lines, Dhritarashtra was attached to maintaining and protecting his sons, even at the cost of life. even at the cost of breaking dharma. We all know, even after losing battle, Dhritarashtra was still attached to family comfort, material opulence. He was attached to it. Even after losing battle, all his sons were killed in the battle. It is said in the Bhagavatam, Evam griheshu sakthanam. Griheshu, anyone who is attached to family affairs. Evam griheshu sakthanam. Such a person, pramattanam tadihaya adyakramat avignataha kalaha paramadushtaraha. For such a person, it is insurmountable to overcome material attachment. It is very difficult. Just like this Dhritarashtra, who was living at the expense of the Pandavas, whom he tried to kill from very childhood. Then Mahatma Vidura preached to him. He preached to him with very powerful words, which shattered his heart. He says, even after losing battlefield, you are living like a household dog. You are living like a household dog. At the risk of humiliation and eating the remnants of food given by Bhima. These powerful instructions of Vidura awakened Dhritarashtra. He was shattered. So one fine day, without informing anyone, he left the palace. This is the impact of pure devotees' words. And Prabhupada says in the purport, the greatest loss in life is to pass time without understanding Krishna. You see, very important statement. The greatest loss in life is to pass time without understanding Krishna. Prabhupada is not saying loss of money is the greatest loss, or loss of wealth is greatest loss. No. He's saying loss of time without Krishna conscious is the greatest loss of life. Time is very important. How time is important? Because our time is short. It is countable. It is measurable. The moment we are born, our time is fixed. Our lifespan is fixed. We do not know how long we live. Our time is fixed. So Prabhupada is saying that every moment of our life must be utilized in Krishna consciousness. The time and energy of human form of life should be utilized properly. The time and energy of human form of life must be utilized properly. Then we can be saved from the suffering of material existence and break the cycle of repeated birth and death. But if we misuse this time, we again become entangled in material life. And to get this human form of life, one has to take millions and millions of life. You see, the time is so precious. Every moment of our time must be utilized properly. Prabhupada is saying here. So proper utilization of time means what? Proper utilization of time means increasing our devotional service to the Supreme Lord. increasing our devotion service to the Supreme Lord. If we any activity which does not increase our devotion to Supreme Lord, it is simply shrama evahi kevalam. Prabhupada uses the word here, useless labor. So we must analyze ourselves. Any activity that we perform, is it helping us to remember Krishna? Is it helping us to build faith in Krishna? Is it helping us to surrender to Krishna? We must analyze ourselves. So the more we invest time in Krishna conscious activities, the more we increase our spiritual credits. But on the contrary, if we engage in sense gratification, we become entangled. Our consciousness becomes dull. We cannot understand the spiritual subject matter. It is just like the goat in a slaughterhouse. The goat is eating nicely the grass, but it is unaware that it is going to be killed because its consciousness is covered. Anyone who is engaged in excessive sense gratification, his consciousness is also covered to understand the spiritual subject matter. It becomes dull, just like this animal. So, we must be alert to engage in Krishna conscious. Krishna conscious is like a fire, and sense gratification is like a putting water to the fire. So Prabhupada gives an analogy. The more the wood is wet, it is difficult to ignite. It takes long time to ignite the wood. So we must be alert. Is my activities becoming closer to Krishna conscious? Am I able to remember Krishna? We must analyze, we must check ourselves. And that's why Bhishma Deva is setting an example for us. When he was on the bed of arrows, he says, the glorious example concerning the most important function of human form of life. The most important function of human form of life is that the subject matter which attracts the dying man becomes the beginning of his next life. The subject matter which attracts the dying man becomes the beginning of his next life. Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejate ante kalevaram. Whatever state of mind one remembers, that state he will attain. Therefore, Bhishma Deva is saying, if one is absorbed in the thought of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, he is sure to go back to Godhead without any doubt. Bhishma Deva is setting an example. Time is such precious. It is very powerful. It depends on our consciousness, how it affects what we remember at the time of death. And the beauty of Krishna consciousness is that it can be practiced at any time of our life. It can be practiced in the childhood. It can be practiced in the youth. Even it can be practiced at a very advanced age. Just like the great acharyas, they have proven that it can be practiced at any stage of life. In the purport, Prabhupada is saying, old age is not detrimental for a devotee. Old age is not detrimental for a devotee. He refers to Kala Kanya, the daughter of time, who inevitably takes away every living entity. No one can escape her grip. Kala Kanya, we cannot escape our grip. But she cannot defeat a Vaishnava. She cannot defeat a Vaishnava. So Prabhupada says, if a person is Krishna conscious, he can work like an young man even at the age of 75, 80. Kala Kanya cannot overpower a devotee. A devotee externally he may look old, but internally is full of enthusiasm, is full of spiritual strength, is full of energy. Kala Kanya cannot overcome such a devotee. But a one who is absorbed in sense gratification, she overtakes him. Because he lacks strength, he lacks spiritual strength. She overtakes him, but not a devotee. The solid example is Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who was extremely old. His hands were shaking. His eyesight was weak. His bodily strength was weak. But at that advanced age, he composed Chaitanya Charitamrita. Because he was spiritually strong. He had full of energy and enthusiasm. Even we see the great Goswamis, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, they took up spiritual life at an advanced age after retiring from their governmental services. And they were serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with all energy like an young man. So, time cannot defeat a Vaishnava. And Srinivasa Acharya, he glorifies the Goswamis, saying that Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipunau Shaddharma Samsthapakau. Nana Shastra. They were expert in analyzing Vedic literatures. For what? Shaddharma Samsthapakau. To establish the true religion and to benefit the humanity. So Prabhupada says, internally, the devotee never experiences defeat, is spiritually strong to serve the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. We can see in the life example in the life of Srila Prabhupada. At the advanced age of 70 years, he crossed the ocean. He circled 14 times across the globe. He established 108 temples. He wrote 80 volumes of books. Initiated thousands of disciples. He held morning walks. He has lectured, he has delivered countless lectures. And correspondence, solving the problems of the disciples, entire management. You see, age is not detrimental for a devotee. It's not an implication in advancing in spiritual life. So, the great acharyas are very compassionate to the conditioned souls. They take all risk. They want to show their mercy to the conditioned souls and deliver them. On the occasion of Advaita Acharya appearance day, we shall try to recollect some of the past times. Even Advaita Acharya also felt the same situation when he appeared. That the world was in a pitiable condition, that people are engrossed in material sense gratification, forgetting the real problems of life, namely birth, death, old age and disease, which is called Bhavaroga. Seeing the condition of this world, that people are suffering, he became greatly compassionate. It was very painful for him. A Vaishnava is paradukha dukhi. So, while he was contemplating for the welfare of the world, he said, if Sri Krishna himself were to appear as an incarnation, he could personally teach devotional service by his own example. By his own example, he could teach if he incarnates himself. But in Kali Yuga, the only religion is the chanting the holy names of the Lord. So Krishna, he started worshipping Krishna in a completely purified state of mind, constantly petitioning him with great humility. He's constantly worshipping. How is he worshipping? Tulasi dhala matrena jalasya chulke nava vikirnita swamatmanam bhaktebhyo bhaktavatsala. Sri Krishna, who is extremely affectionate to his devotees, he sells himself. If one offers him a tulasi leaf and a palmful of water, he sells himself. Tulasi dala matrena jalasya chulake nava. If a devotee offers these two items, the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna becomes indebted. He finds no wealth equal to this offering. He becomes indebted. Unable to repay such a devotion, Krishna offers himself to such a sincere devotee. So Advaita Acharya, he was absorbed in deep meditation upon the lotus feet of the Lord. He was worshipping constantly by offering tulasi leaves, tulasi buds, and the Ganges water. He was offering with great intensity and devotion. And he calls out loudly, Sri Krishna, pleading his descent. It's like a child helplessly is calling out his parents. He was calling out, he was pleading for his descent. And Supreme Lord Sri Krishna appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the protector of religion, and in order to inaugurate the Sankirtana movement all over the world. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna has descended as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he descended, even his associates also descend. Nityananda Prabhu, Srivas Thakur, all his associates descend to flood the holy name of the Lord. So Advaita Acharya, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descended, Advaita Acharya is actually a senior to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, he would offer him respectable obeisances as his spiritual master. So who is Advaita Acharya? Advaita Acharya is a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. And Madhavendra Puri had two principal disciples, Advaita Acharya and Ishwarapuri. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was disciple of Ishwarapuri. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered Advaita Acharya as his spiritual master. And therefore, he is offering his respects. The Supreme Lord himself is offering his respects to a devotee. In other words, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is actually teaching us how a devotee should be honored. How a devotee should be honored. So, Advaita Acharya, he thinks that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considers me as his spiritual master, but I know what is the truth. Although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considers me a spiritual master, but I am his humble servant. I am eternally his servant. This is the harmony of a Vaikuntha, where there is no ego, there is no comparison, but only love. Only love. This is the ornament of a bhakti. This is the ornament of bhakti. This bhakti conquers the Supreme Lord himself. It's like Yashoda Mata. He conquered the Supreme Lord by bhakti. Is binding him. So, after having appeared, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in Advaita Bhavan. In the same Advaita Bhavan, there is one more inspiring incident occurred in the year 1940 and 1950. In between 1940 and 1950, one more incident occurred in the life of our beloved spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. This incident was shared by the Pujari of Advaita Bhavan. He was sharing that a simple Bengali grahastha who dressed in a white khadi dhoti and kurta, he would come alone and sit backside of the temple. He would speak to no one, and for hours together he would chant the holy names of the Lord. As he was chanting the holy name of the Lord, he was so deeply absorbed, and there were tears in his eyes. His voice was choked up, and he was chanting the holy names in deep absorption. And in the evening, he would come to the Pujari. He would say, "Thank you for your seva." And he would leave. Years passed by. He could find this Swamiji was not coming back. This simple grahastha was not coming back. What happened? In the year 1965, August, he saw something extraordinary. He saw a person in saffron robes, a sannyasi, sitting in the same place, chanting hours together. And there were tears in his eyes, deeply absorbed in chanting the holy names. And this Pujari comes very close to him. He could recognize it is the same person. He's the same person who had come earlier. He's the same, my old friend. Deeply chanting and absorbed in the thought of the Lord. And there were tears in his eyes, longing for the mercy of the Lord. And as evening progressed, he would come to the pujari. He would say the same thing again. Thank you for your seva. This time, the pujari could not restrain himself. He asked, "Who are you? I remember you for so long. Who are you?" And the sannyasi would reply, "My name is Advaita Acharya Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. I am an unworthy disciple of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. My Guru Maharaj has given me an impossible mission. His desire is I must cross the ocean, go to the Western countries and teach the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I come here to seek the mercy of great personalities. It is in this place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, all his associates would gather and plan mass Sankirtan movement. I come here to seek their mercy, to empower me. Because my Guru Maharaj ordered me an impossible mission." So he said, "Tomorrow I am leaving for Calcutta. And from there, I board a ship to America. I don't know what is going to happen there. I don't know what is going to happen there. I don't know anyone. And before leaving, he is also seeking the mercy of the pujari. Please bless me." And then, after many years later, the pujari noticed something very astonishing. There were white devotees coming to Advaita Bhavan who are in white dhotis and saris and chanting the holy names of Lord Krishna in Tulsi Mala. And they gave to the pujari one magazine, Back to Godhead. As the pujari was turning the pages, suddenly he saw the painting of Srila Prabhupada. He could recognize it is my old friend who had accomplished his mission of serving his Guru Maharaj, who had accomplished his impossible mission of serving his Guru Maharaj. Standing alone with all difficulties. It is my old friend. He was narrating all this incident to the disciples who had come. So, we see how Srila Prabhupada underwent severe austerities, took all risk, crossed the ocean just to bestow his mercy to the conditioned souls, just to satisfy his spiritual master, to preach the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The spiritual master take all risk. Great acharyas take all risk. So, Advaita Acharya called upon the Lord to descend, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu flooded with the holy name, and Srila Prabhupada, standing in the same current of ocean of mercy, carried that flood of the holy name across the world. So, it is very important that we utilize our time and energy in the service of the Lord and progress more and more, achieve more and more spiritual credits. As Bhishma Deva is saying, the subject matter that attracts the dying man becomes the beginning of his next life. So on this occasion, we should remember these wonderful pastimes of Advaita Acharya and seek their mercy so that we become more and more serious in Krishna conscious. So we'll stop here. Vishwa Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Advaita Acharya ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Ithai Gaur Premanand.